In other news tonight, no new casualties have been reported in the latest round of missile attacks by Israel on Gaza. Heavy burst of fire came from tanks in southern Israel tonight, though, as the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas enters its second week. But the fighting in the Middle East also touches the hearts and minds right here in San Diego. KUSI's Sasha Fu is in the newsroom to explain. Sasha.
Alan, an urgent call to prayer brought hundreds of people, all supporters of Israel, to a gathering at the Museum of Contemporary Art in La Jolla. Half a world away from the missiles and the tanks, these supporters of Israel gathered in an auditorium in La Jolla. They were of one mind to pray for the peace of Israel.
God will use the Jewish people to bless the world, and He has.
This program was organized by advocates for Israel and several of the largest evangelical churches in San Diego.
We're here to pray and just ask for God's intervention and God's protection.
Since the start of the Israeli airstrike in Gaza a week ago, supporters like Mary Simpson, a member of Horizon Christian Fellowship, say they stand behind Israel's campaign to defend itself from rocket attacks by Hamas.
Jewish people are very peaceful, but that they're continually being fired upon, and eventually they have to protect themselves.
Pastor Miles McPherson from the Rock Church says there are no easy answers.
As you know, there's been conflict for thousands of years, so we pray that the conflict would subside and that peace would reign and that cooler heads would prevail.
Speaker after speaker invoked Israel's right to security. Uri Resnick is the Israeli Deputy Consul General in Los Angeles. He says Israel wants nothing more than to end the strife and armed conflict with its neighbors.
The Israeli government has been very clear about what the objectives of this operation are, and it is to simply completely cease the missile firing against Israeli civilians. The best thing, the optimal thing to do would be to do that diplomatically.
Unlike a pro-Israeli rally over the weekend, this assembly did not draw any critics of Israel. Some Palestinians say the latest round of violence was triggered in early November when Israeli forces shot a child playing soccer, a situation which led to an escalation of hostilities.
They are massacring them. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. There's nowhere they can hide, nowhere they can go. And in the meantime, our media here in this country is portraying it as an even-sided conflict when it's not.
There may be deep disputes over who is fueling the violence, but there seems to be agreement on this. The bloodshed in Gaza and in Israel must end.
And we want to pray that peace reign, that little kids don't have to worry about bombs falling on their head, and it's as simple as that.
Dr. Uri Resnick, the Deputy Consul General of Israel, says if diplomatic solutions fail, Israeli troops are ready for a ground incursion into Gaza. In the newsroom, I'm Sasha Fu, KUSI News.